Discover the incredible story of a shoeless girl who won a job against 24 candidates. Heartwarming and inspirational. Amelia stood at the corner of Maple and 4th, her toes curling against the rough pavement. The heat of the day pressed down on her, but it was nothing compared to the fire in her heart. At just 22, she had dreams that soared high, swirling like the vibrant colors she splashed onto her sketches. Yet, here she was, in worn jeans and a faded tee, drawing curious stares from the polished students walking by. They wore shoes that glinted like gold, while she embraced the ground with bare feet, the dirt a small token of her struggle. Home was a cramped apartment filled with chatter and love, but also with the doubts of her mother. "Amelia, be realistic," her mom would say, her eyes filled with both tenderness and concern. They often sat at the kitchen table, talking about dreams woven in hues of hope and the shadows of skepticism that painted their lives. Today, those whispers of disappointment echoed louder than ever, tugging at Amelia's chest. When her heart raced as they announced the prestigious internship at the local design firm, it felt like a thunderbolt. 24 candidates, all perfectly groomed, oozed confidence like fresh paint. There she was, Amelia, the barefoot girl from the small town, zooming in on her hope, her heart screaming she belonged in that room. On interview day, she picked out her best outfit, a second-hand blazer that felt a bit too big, but she wore it like armor. As she crossed the threshold to the firm, the air was thick with professionalism. A pang of insecurity swept through her. She felt their eyes on her as she approached the committee, the tension in the room rising. Would they see her talent, or just notice her bare feet? Her stomach twisted, but there was no going back now. "Tell us about yourself," one committee member began, but before she could respond, a slip sent her crashing into the wall, a graceless maneuver that drew gasps. Mortification flared hotter than summer's sun, but instead of crumbling, determination surged within her. This was no accident, it exposed them. They judged her without knowing her journey. As she regained her composure and shared her experiences, how every hardship transformed into vibrant art, their expressions shifted. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. With every word, she painted a portrait of her life, each struggle a brushstroke that formed a masterpiece of resilience. And it stirred something in the committee. Was admiration surfacing in their eyes? Tensions buzzed as Amelia revealed not just her artistry, but her unique perspective shaped by the grit of survival. Yet whispers of an unsanctioned competition loomed in the background, like storm clouds ready to unleash chaos. Now, as decisions were about to be made, Amelia stood anchored in uncertainty. Would she be deemed worthy, or just another nameless tale lost to the shadows? The ticking clock blared in her mind, her heart pounding defiantly. The world watched, waiting. Would she rise in solidarity and challenge the ingrained notions of success, or would she sink back into the quiet of the crowd? The weight of the moment left readers breathless, wondering what would unfold next in her remarkable journey. The atmosphere in the room shifted as the committee whispered amongst themselves, glancing occasionally at Amelia. She could sense their skepticism mingled with curiosity. As they turned their heads back to her, she felt like a living canvas. Every fear, every hope painted clearly across her face. "Thank you for sharing that with us, Amelia," said a woman with short auburn hair and bright green eyes. Her words felt like a balm on Amelia's racing heart. "Your journey is it's inspiring. But tell us, what do you think you can bring to our team that others can't?" The question hung in the air like a heavy curtain, and for a brief moment, Amelia's mind went blank. She looked down at her feet, the dirt now feeling like a badge of honor rather than a mark of shame. "I may not have what others have," she finally replied, voice steady yet filled with conviction. "But my art comes from passion. I'm not just creating, I'm telling stories. Amelia noticed the reactions shift subtly. Eyes widened and nods began to appear. It was like a ripple through the crowd as the committee members exchanged glances. Could it be that they were actually connecting with her? Yes, she continued, leaning into the moment, excitement threading through her words. I design not just to create beauty, but to evoke feelings. My life has been a series of colors, challenges, and triumphs. I know what it's like to feel invisible, and that's why I can bring a different perspective to your team. Her words spilled over like a cascade of paint, vibrant and alive. The room grew quieter, every eye fixed on her. She could see their judgment slowly melting away. Maybe, just maybe, they were beginning to see the heart behind her bare feet, but before she could bask in the shifting atmosphere, the door swung open and a tall figure entered. It was the firm's owner, a legend in the design world, known for both his brilliance and his brutal honesty. Amelia's stomach dropped. He sauntered to the front, almost taking the air out of the room. Sorry to interrupt, he said, his voice deep and commanding. I'd like to hear from each candidate about their vision for our upcoming project. A specific piece you'd like to pitch. He looked straight at Amelia, and for a moment, the world around her faded. Wow, she thought, feeling the weight of the moment. Could she really fit into such a prestigious environment? The challenge loomed like a mountain, and doubt began to creep back in. But as she looked at the faces of the committee, she recalled the courage that propelled her forward. They wanted to hear her unique vision. This was her chance, the opportunity she'd been waiting for. Amelia took a deep breath, her expression shifting from uncertainty to determination. I want to create a piece that speaks to the voice of the unheard, she declared, her heart racing. A shoe installation representing different journeys, a celebration of who we are, regardless of our struggles. It will remind everyone that beauty comes from authenticity, that we all matter. Silence followed, charged with tension. The owner raised an eyebrow, intrigued. Amelia held her ground, willing herself to remain steady. Beautiful idea, he said, nodding slowly. You've got guts. Let us see if you go further with your pitch. As the gravity of what he said sank in, Amelia felt a rush of exhilaration. She was in. But just as the excitement bloomed in her chest, a roar of laughter erupted from a corner of the room. One of the other candidates was mocking her, a smirk stretched across his face. A shoe installation? Really? What's next? A parade of regrets. Amelia's heart sank. Was this to be her downfall, or could she use it to rise? She stood at the edge of a decision that could change everything. Would she fight back and turn the mockery into motivation? Will she let their judgment push her back, or will she be bold enough to confront it head-on? The answer lay just within reach, waiting for her to claim her moment. Amelia's breath caught in her throat as the laughter echoed around her, ringing sharp against the silence of her earlier confidence. For a heartbeat, she felt like a small child again, painfully aware of how easily ridicule could chip away at her resolve. But something sparked within her, a flicker of defiance. She wasn't just any candidate. She was Amelia, the girl who dared to walk bare feet on the path of her own truth. Parade of regrets? She echoed, though her voice trembled slightly. I'd say it's more like a celebration of journeys. The committee turned their attention back, intrigued by her unexpected retort. Even the owner, who watched with a stoic expression, seemed to lean in a little closer. Someone from the back of the room shook their head, as if expressing disbelief at the challenger's audacity. Amelia took her moment. Regrets don't define us, she continued, feeling the warmth of her conviction swell like a tide. Just like every shoe tells a story, so do we. Each journey is made of ups and downs, and from those, we find our beauty. The laughter faded, replaced by a pregnant silence. With every word, she painted a picture not just of her ideas, but of her heart. She could almost see the gleam of curiosity in their eyes, the one spark that might ignite understanding. If I could create this installation, I would weave in stories from people's lives, she explained. Hear from those who faced unseen struggles, make each pair of shoes symbolize a life, a voice that deserves recognition. Her voice gained strength, resonating with fierceness. I wanted to spark conversations, challenge perceptions, and celebrate the hidden beauty in every single journey. A murmur rose among the committee members, a wave of whispers that filled the air like soft music. Amelia's hands gestured animatedly, as if molding her vision with her very fingertips. Imagine walking past these shoes, seeing different styles, different paths, each resonating with someone's truth. It would be a space where everyone could see themselves reflected. A place of warmth and acceptance. She glanced at the owner, finding him observing closely, his brow furrowed in thought. For a breath, they locked eyes, and she felt that elusive connection as a flicker of possibility ignited between them. This was at the moment to give her all. Then, the mocker spoke again, although this time his tone was less confrontational, almost begrudgingly curious. So, you're saying shoes can help with mental health? Like a therapy session? That's exactly it, said Amelia, leaping at the opportunity. Shoes are more than just fashion, they hold stories of vulnerability, courage, and resilience. They can bridge gaps between people. Maybe, just maybe, we can all learn something from those we looked past. The murmurs became more animated, this time reflecting a genuine conversation rather than doubt. Slowly, one committee member spoke up. When you think about it, your proposal isn't merely about footwear. It's about community. There was a nod of agreement from another. Amelia couldn't hold back the smile creeping onto her face. They were engaging with her. It felt tangible now. But like thunder interrupting clear skies, the owner cleared his throat, bringing their focus back. A powerful pitch indeed, Amelia. But how do you plan to execute this? What makes you the right person to lead such a crucial project? The question hung heavy, just as her mind swirled, wrestling with how to express the urgency and depth of her purpose. In that moment, she realized she had climbed a few rungs in their perception, but reaching the top of the ladder meant showing them more than just ideas on paper. It required every piece of her soul. Because I live this every day, she took a breath, her voice quieter yet filled with fire. I've walked that path, and I still do. I know every corner of fear and isolation, but I've also felt the warmth of connection and love. This project isn't just another job for me, it's a mission. Her words fell like rain on parched earth. Could they feel her sincerity? Did they see her fight? She watched with bated breath as they exchanged glances. But just when she thought the moment might be hers, another voice broke through. So, what if we don't like your first design? What will you do then? The challenge hung like a dark cloud, and she felt that familiar knot of doubt tightening again. Would she falter now? Or could she show them resilience, not just in her story, but in her approach? As she prepared to respond, Amelia understood, this was her moment, and she wouldn't back down now. The choice was only beginning to unfold. Would she find the courage to turn obstacles into stepping stones? This was just the beginning of a journey she couldn't have anticipated. What awaited her next? Amelia felt the weight of the room pressing in on her, a mix of anticipation and doubt swirling like a storm cloud overhead. They were right to challenge her, this was no easy task. If you don't like my first design, she finally said, the words tumbling out before she could second-guess herself, I'm here to listen. Just like each journey is an opportunity to learn and grow, so too is every design. I believe feedback is the heartbeat of creativity. Her honesty hung in the air as the committee absorbed her words. She could see a spark of respect flicker in the eyes of the owner. Would they see the depth of her determination? The buzz in the room had shifted again, it felt alive, electric even. What if you're too attached to your vision to adapt? The mocker pressed, his brows knitted in an evaluative frown, yet devoid of mockery this time. It felt more like a challenge to push her further. Then I'll find the strength to step back, she replied, finding her voice stronger now, more resolute. I'd rather adapt and evolve than dig my heels in and risk missing the chance to connect with others. This isn't just about me, it's about the stories that the shoes will tell. Amelia felt a wave of warmth wash over her, she was finally getting through. Their faces began to soften, curiosity replacing the earlier judgments. There was a fleeting smile from one of the committee members, as if she saw a little glimpse of hope in Amelia's ideas. I think you have a unique perspective, offered another member, her voice calm, a contrast to the tension that had just thrummed through the air. But what happens if your installation doesn't draw the community in? What if it falls flat? There was genuine concern in her tone, and Amelia felt it deeply. It's a risk I'm willing to take, she declared, her heart racing. Art has always been a gamble. If we don't take risks, we'll never know what we're capable of. I want this installation to create a ripple effect, much like how one kind act or story can inspire the next. The journey matters more than the outcome. Eyes darted around the room, as if her words reached into uncharted territories within each member. The owner settled back in his chair, hands folded thoughtfully. Amelia felt his gaze pierce through the walls she had built around her heart. She longed to show them the truth of her vision, the passion threading her every word. Let me show you what I can do, she urged, her voice rising slightly, filled with the fervor of a girl who had danced barefoot through life's hardest moments. Give me a chance to create, she pleaded, and I'll pour everything into this project. I won't just design shoes, I'll craft a narrative that speaks to everyone. You'll see it unfold into something beautiful. In that moment, she stood taller, no longer just the girl on the floor, but a beacon of perseverance. A mix of uncertainty and hope danced together in her chest. As the committee exchanged more looks, a palpable tension filled the air. They deliberated quietly, but each moment stretched like an elastic band, ready to snap. The clock on the wall ticked loudly, reminding her of the time slipping away. Suddenly, she felt vulnerable and exposed, yet resolute, and then the owner spoke, his voice a measured mix of authority and warmth. What you're proposing is ambitious, Amelia. We need more than just creativity, we need a solid plan. His tone shifted. Meet with me tomorrow to discuss the next steps. Amelia's heart fluttered like a caged bird desperate to be free. Of course, she replied, almost breathless. I'd love that. As she walked away from the committee table, a sense of disbelief washed over her. Had she really done it? Just as she stepped outside, the weight of the world seemed to lift, but another feeling crept in, one of truth mixed with fear. What now? Could she truly lead this project to success? She knew she had transformed the moment, but the path was still littered with unknowns. Would the seeds of her vision blossom into something real, impacting lives along the way? The sun began to set, and for Amelia, it signaled an end to one chapter and the beginning of another. But what would this new chapter reveal about her journey, and would she have the strength to keep moving forward? Amelia blinked against the burst of light from the setting sun. It felt like the world had changed in that single moment inside the committee room, yet outside, everything remained the same. She stepped onto the cracked sidewalk, her heart pounding with a mix of excitement and dread. Tomorrow mattered, and she was both eager and terrified at the thought of what might come next. As she made her way home, Amelia replayed the day's events in her mind, each moment imbued with fresh colors. The committee's faces reflected doubt and skepticism, but now their expressions seemed to crack, revealing curiosity. It ignited a flicker of hope inside her. What if she could successfully show them the power of her vision? She stopped at a bakery, her stomach growling in protest. A warm, buttery croissant caught her eye. She hesitated, thinking of the money, but then she remembered how good it felt to reward herself after a fighting day. After all, sometimes victory came in small servings. Taking a bite of the flaky pastry, she savored the rich flavor. Each chew reminded her that moving forward required not only courage but also small joys along the way. She smiled, feeling a sense of lightness in her step, and she began to envision the next day her meeting transformed into a vivid canvas splashed with possibilities, but as her optimism bloomed, a wave of anxiety crashed over her. What if she failed to bring her concept to life? The yet unrealized installation loomed between her dreams and reality. She found herself imagining conversations with the owner, presenting plans and diagrams, each detail painstakingly crafted. Would her enthusiasm be enough to convince him? Anxiety dripped like sweat down her back. When she reached her small apartment, the familiar sight of its modest living space finally set in. The walls were a faded shade of blue, filled with hand-drawn sketches pinned haphazardly, her dreams scattered like leaves in the wind. She kicked off her shoes, the sensation of the cool floor grounding her amidst the whirlpool of emotions. It felt good to be home. Sinking into her worn-out armchair, Amelia picked up her sketchbook. This was her safe space, the sanctuary where her ideas could breathe. With a pencil in hand, she began to draw, lines forming into shapes and colors swirling in her mind. She poured her soul onto the page, sketching new designs for her installation. This wasn't merely about shoes anymore, it was about creating a bridge, a connection that could resonate with others. As night deepened, she lost track of time, immersed in her creative cocoon. It was as if the universe conspired with her, each stroke of the pencil pulling her closer to her true self. But the stillness of the night was punctured by doubt. What would happen if the committee questioned her every choice? She tossed her pencil down and stared at the ceiling, exhaustion creeping in. Soon, she was enveloped in a blanket of sleep, dreams dancing in the corners of her mind, but shadows of uncertainty flickered at the edges. Before she knew it, dawn crept in like a silent witness, illuminating the city with its orange glow. It sent shivers of determination coursing through her. Today was the day. As she dressed, she whispered to her reflection, bolstering herself for the challenge ahead. "You've got this, Amelia. Just be yourself." But deep in her chest, a tight knot of fear lurked. What if her true self wasn't enough? With her backpack slung over one shoulder and a crisp portfolio in hand, she stepped out into the world once more. The streets buzzed with life, a stark contrast to her own inner turmoil. Yet, she felt a sense of belonging, woven into the fabric of the bustling city. As she approached the meeting location, her heart raced. The building loomed ahead, seemingly daring her to step inside, to conquer the unknown. Today, decisions would be made, paths would intertwine, and futures would be crafted, but standing on that threshold, she paused. Could she really be the storyteller she yearned to be? Would the committee see beyond her designs to the heart behind them? A breath hitched in her throat, and for a moment, doubt threatened to unravel her spirit. Then she whispered, "It's just the first step." And pushing the door open, she stepped into the unknown. What would unfold inside the meeting? Would she conquer her fears, or would the weight of expectation prove too heavy to bear? The air thickened with possibility, each moment promising the thrill of discovery. The dimly lit conference room reminded Amelia of a theater stage. The committee members were already seated, their eyes flicking toward her as she entered, each gaze a mixture of scrutiny and curiosity. Her breath caught. She had done countless mock presentations in front of her mirror, but this felt different. This was real. Taking a deep breath, she approached the table. The chair creaked under her weight as she settled in, her portfolio open like a trusted shield in front of her. She could see the coffee cups scattered around, cold remnants of the earlier meetings, evidence of restless minds assessing, debating. She began her presentation, her voice steady despite the storm of emotions swirling inside. Each word felt carefully crafted, deliberate. She spoke passionately about her vision, how she wanted to create an installation that could bridge gaps, bring people together, and elevate the narrative behind footwear. They listened. The faint nods and furrowed brows suggested they were intrigued. As she unveiled her sketches, the room filled with a palpable tension. Each drawing was an invitation into her imagination, vibrant colors, innovative shapes, and a deeper meaning behind each design. She could feel the energy shift, the skepticism slowly melted away like snow under the sun. But then, one of the committee members, a man with sharp features and a furrowed brow, interrupted. "Amelia, what do you plan to do if the project fails? What if the public doesn't connect with your concept?" A knot tightened in her stomach. The question hung in the air like a heavy fog. What if it did fail? She thought about the countless hours spent imagining the smile of someone stepping into her creation. "Failure," she began, "is just another step toward success. Every story worth telling has its struggles. I want to embrace that, share the journey, not just the finished product. We all have stories that connect us, and that's what I hope to capture." The silence that followed felt like an eternity. Would they see her honesty? Could they sense her yearning to make a difference? She held her breath, waiting. Another member, a woman with kind eyes, leaned in. "I appreciate your perspective, Amelia. It's refreshing to hear someone embrace vulnerability. Your designs are compelling, yes, but they should also tell a story, one that resonates deeply with others." Hope flickered in Amelia's chest. Maybe, just maybe, she was reaching them. As she continued, every bit of her heart poured into the presentation. She forgot the nerves, forgot the committee members, and for a moment, it was just her and her dream. At last came the moment when her voice softened. "All I ask is for an opportunity to bring this to life. I want people to walk in my shoes and feel something meaningful." The committee exchanged glances, and she could see the unspoken words pass between them, the weight of decision, the heaviness of dreams and realities. Time seemed to stall. Amelia sat there, her heart a drum echoing in the silence. She had opened her soul, and now it hung in the balance, swaying between hope and despair. Then the chair squeaked again as the man who had first questioned her leaned back, scratching his chin. "Thank you, Amelia. We will review everything discussed today." With that, the meeting wound down, and as she collected her portfolio, a flood of emotion hit her. She had shared her truth, faced her fears, and in that moment, no matter the outcome, she had taken a step toward who she wanted to be. As she stepped back onto the chilly street, a rush of exhilaration filled her. Could this be the beginning of something new? But as she turned to walk down the block, a thought rushed in like a dark cloud. What if they didn't believe in her vision after all? The uncertainty wrapped around her like a tight embrace, and she realized how vulnerable she truly felt. Would the world see the beauty in her story? Only time would tell. Amelia didn't walk home. She paced, her mind running faster than her feet. The city was alive around her, people rushing by, taxis honking, street vendors calling out, but all she could hear was that voice in her head questioning the worth of her dream. She navigated through the bustling crowd, her portfolio clutched tightly against her. Drawings, concepts, dreams, now all of it felt exposed. While hope flickered in her chest, doubt gnawed at the edges. Would they truly see her passion, or was she just another face in a crowd? As she turned the corner onto her street, her thoughts shifted back to the committee. The kind woman's words echoed in her ears, "Embrace vulnerability." It felt like a lifeline. Yet, the man's skepticism still posed a shadow over her confidence. That evening, Amelia sprawled on her couch, staring at the mess of crumpled papers scattered on her coffee table. Sketches piled atop each other, all representing a fragment of her journey. With each doodle, every ink stroke, she felt a tug toward creativity, a reminder that this was just one chapter in her story. She picked up one of her favorite sketches, the one with the intricately designed shoe, embodying everything she wanted to say: community, connection, and resilience. It represented struggles, failures, but ultimately, the beauty of triumph. An idea sparked within her. What if she combined her love for design with her burgeoning feelings of uncertainty? Maybe others felt this kind of fear too. She grabbed a fresh sheet of paper and began to draw again, this time breathing life into her fears, illustrating the anxiety that loomed large. The design morphed into something raw, something real. There was beauty in her vulnerability, and as the lines took form, she felt lighter. She began writing alongside the sketches, weaving in snippets of her thoughts. We all walk barefoot for a while until we find the right shoes that fit our stories. The night slipped away, unnoticed. At some point, the pencil felt like an extension of her heart. Each stroke was a reminder that even amid fear, creativity could flow. As morning light broke through her window, Amelia knew this was just a flicker of the flame she had ignited within herself. The world outside still felt daunting, but this time it felt possible to embrace it. Soon, her phone buzzed. A message from one of her best friends, Lily, popped up. "Let's meet up for brunch. I need to hear all about yesterday." It felt like a sudden burst of sunlight through the lingering dark clouds. Amelia quickly responded, excitement bubbling within her. She needed to share this newfound clarity with someone who had always believed in her. Over brunch, Amelia poured out her thoughts, both fear and hope pooling in her words. "What if they don't pick me, Lily? What if it doesn't matter how much heart I put into it?" A reassuring smile spread across Lily's face. "Amelia, they won't just see your designs, they will feel your passion. And even if it doesn't work out, it's not the end. It's part of finding your path." As they chatted about life and dreams, Amelia realized that perhaps the committee wasn't the only audience she needed to capture. It was the people who believed in her first: her family, her friends, the community. All of them were unknowingly shaping her narrative. But then her phone buzzed again. It was a notification that took her breath away, a reply from the committee. Her fingers trembled slightly as she opened the message. What could it possibly say? Hope and fear danced within her together, creating an overwhelming tension. Did she dare to look? The answer lay just a glance away. What would it reveal? More than just the fate of her project, it could change everything. Amelia held her breath, her heart racing as the screen illuminated her face. The words blurred for a moment, then surged forward as clarity broke through the fog of doubt. "Congratulations, Amelia. We are excited to invite you to the next round of interviews." A giddy rush of joy crashed over her, quickly followed by disbelief. Could it really be her? She blinked at the screen, letting the words seep in. Hope coiled tightly in her chest, fighting against the lingering shadow of her insecurities. "Is everything okay?" Lily asked, her fork paused mid-air, having caught the tremor in Amelia's hands. Amelia's smile felt bright enough to light the dark corners of her worries. They replied. I made it to the next round." Her voice came out in a buoyant whisper, as if saying it too loudly would shatter the moment. Lily's eyes sparkled with excitement. "See? I told you. This is your moment." Amelia leaned back in her chair, swallowing the wave of anxious energy. But now what? Preparing a pitch for them feels like climbing a mountain without gear. A shadow of doubt slipped in. What if I stumble again? Lily placed a comforting hand over hers. "You won. You've already shown that vulnerability in your work. Just be yourself. You have a gift, Amelia. Let them see it." But what did that really mean? Would they appreciate her story? It filled her with both hope and dread. After brunch, she walked home, the sun warming her skin, but the world felt different now. There was a buzzing energy around her, as if every step she took was laced with possibility. The committee was only a small milestone, but it represented a leap in her journey. As she walked, the familiar streets transformed into a canvas. Each shop window reflected snippets of her creativity. She began to envision the designs she would present, the stories behind each concept. What if she used the anxiety she had felt over the years as a starting point? Ideas flooded Amelia's mind, colors swirling together, each hue representing an emotion she had documented in her sketches. Her focus sharpened with every stride. She imagined a shoe that told her story and those of everyone standing on the precipice of fear. That evening, with her portfolio spread across her living room, she worked tirelessly, each design infused with her renewed passion. She scribbled notes on each sketch, transforming raw feelings into narratives that connected with others. "This is who I am," she whispered to herself, "and I'm proud of it." Finally exhausted but exhilarated, she stepped back. The pieces lay before her like a puzzle coming together, and for the first time, she saw not just shoes, but a glimpse into her journey of resilience and adaptation. Yet just as hope began to bloom, her phone buzzed again. This time it was a phone call. It was Rachel, one of the committee members. Amelia's heart plummeted. Was this a good call? Anxiety rushed back as she hesitated answering. "Amelia, I hope you have a moment." The friendly tone softened her nerves, but the weight of the call sank in. Of course, Rachel. I'm listening." As she steadied herself, a realization hit deep in her gut. This wasn't just a call about her project, it could be a pivotal moment in her life. Her heart raced at the thought of what was coming next. Would this conversation embrace her creative spirit, or would it be another closed-door moment? "Let us get started, shall we?" Rachel's voice carried a mix of formality and warmth. Amelia took a deep breath, feeling the edges of vulnerability creeping back. She was ready to share her story. But as the conversation unfolded, she couldn't shake the growing anxiety of the revelation waiting on the other end. What secrets would this call unleash? Would it be another chance or a painful lesson? Amelia steadied herself, gripping the phone tightly as she listened to Rachel. "First off, I want to say how impressed we were with your portfolio. You've poured so much of yourself into those designs, it truly resonated with all of us." "Thank you," she managed to reply, the warmth in Rachel's voice pushing aside some of her anxiety. A flicker of hope ignited in her chest. Maybe this was the sign she needed, a beacon to guide her through the uncertainty. However, Rachel continued, and Amelia's heart sank slightly. "We have some concerns about your ideas and how they fit with our current direction." The word sounded heavy in the air, as though they were pulling her down. "What concerns?" she asked, unable to mask the edge in her voice. Rachel paused, then spoke gently. "We love your creativity, but the committee is looking for something more conventional. Something that might appeal to a broader market. Your narrative pieces are compelling, but they may not align with our brand's vision." Amelia felt the world closing in on her. She had poured everything into those designs, the launches of colors, the fabrics that portrayed her soul. "But it's me," she said, her voice breaking. "That's who I am. The anxiety, the stories, they give each piece life." "I understand," Rachel replied, her tone unwavering yet compassionate. "And that's why we're speaking. We believe there's a way to incorporate your narrative into a more commercially viable form." A glimmer of possibility sparked within Amelia. Could this conversation be the bridge she needed? "What do you suggest?" she asked, channeling the energy that had propelled her through her designs, grounding herself once more. "Why don't we discuss some revisions? Maybe narrowing your focus a bit, taking a core emotion and building around that?" Rachel offered. "We're here to help you, Amelia. We've all sensed your passion, we just want to guide you to marry it with something we can work with." Amelia felt a swell of gratitude. Here was a chance to not only present her vision but to shape it into something that could fly. "I'd love that. I want everyone to see how my experiences can connect with others. That's the spirit. Let us look at scheduling some time next week," Rachel said, and as the conversation continued, Amelia's heart lightened. They discussed potential themes and aesthetics. It flowed like music, notes harmonizing on paper. When they finally hung up, Amelia felt a mixture of relief and excitement coursing through her. She had reached out, and they had responded not with rejection, but with an invitation to grow. With renewed vigor, she opened her portfolio, staring at her sketches with fresh eyes. Perhaps she could distill her emotions into a single, powerful story. As night crept in, Amelia grabbed her sketch pad and began to write. The room was quiet except for the scratching sound of her pencil dancing across the paper, ideas that felt like flames flickering to life. A knock sounded on her door just as she finished a page. It was Lily, her eyes filled with curiosity. "You look like you've just caught lightning in a bottle. What is going on?" Amelia couldn't contain her enthusiasm. "I think I might actually have a way forward." She explained everything about Rachel's suggestions, her voice rising higher, the excitement bubbling over. Lily beamed, her delight mirroring Amelia's. "See? This is your second chance. You're stepping into the light." But in the midst of her euphoria, a thought nagged at the back of Amelia's mind. Would she be able to translate the depth of her story into a simplified concept that the committee could embrace? She had gained a handhold, but now the climb seemed more daunting. As she stared out at the city lights flickering in the distance, the question lingered: could she truly mold her chaotic creativity into something linear and appealing? In this moment of exhilaration, Amelia posed a silent curse that no matter how hard she tried to shape her journey, the heart of it all would stay raw and real. What if, after all this effort, it still didn't resonate with the committee? The stakes were higher than ever. Now she must find the balance between her story and their expectations. Would she falter or soar with this newfound opportunity? And as she turned back to her sketches, the looming question remained: could she truly reconcile her genuine self with their vision? Days turned into a whirlwind of progress as Amelia dedicated herself to refining her designs. Each morning, she awoke with renewed vigor, coffee brewing as she sketched her emotions onto the page. Day by day, she narrowed her focus, streamlining the vivid chaos of her artistry into cohesive concepts. It felt like kneading dough. She was pushing, pulling, shaping each idea until they rose, ready to be baked into something beautiful. With every line drawn, she could feel her spirit lifting. She drew from her experiences, finding metaphors within her past struggles. Shoes became symbols of resilience and narratives of survival. Her story transformed into a tapestry woven with threads of hope, intertwining the personal with the collective. This wasn't just about her anymore. It was about everyone who had faced unseen battles. The day of the follow-up meeting arrived, and Amelia stood outside the building, her heart racing like a drum. She clutched her portfolio tightly as the wind playfully tousled her hair. This was the moment she had been working toward, a chance to present her revitalized vision. As she stepped inside, the buzz of anticipation enveloped her. The committee was there, welcoming and expectant. "Welcome back, Amelia." Rachel greeted her warmly, her encouraging smile igniting a blaze of reassurance in Amelia. They settled in, and as her presentation unfolded, each sketch felt like an extension of her heart, an extension of her journey. She could see their expressions change, curiosity twinkling in their eyes like distant stars. "Take us through this," Rachel prompted, motioning to a drawing of a pair of shoes designed with intricate patterns that told a story of pain woven into strength. "This design symbolizes the resilience of every soul who has walked through adversity," Amelia explained, her voice steady. "I want these shoes to reflect how we've all been barefoot at some point, feeling every rough patch of life, but ultimately finding the right fit that carries us forward." There was a collective nod among the committee members. The room felt alive, as if her passion ignited something extraordinary within them. They moved from drawing to drawing, Amelia weaving intricate narratives of connection and empathy. She could feel them leaning in, absorbing her creative spirit, but just when the atmosphere shimmered with promise, another voice broke through the buzz. A tall man, the one who had questioned her before, raised a brow. "Amelia, while this is beautiful, how do these narratives resonate with a broader audience? How can we ensure that it speaks to more than just your story?" The question hung heavy in the air, bringing back a whisper of doubt. Yet, she held her ground. "The beauty of vulnerability is that it's universal," she replied, channeling every ounce of her determination. "These stories are reflections of hardship, love, and determination. They might begin personal but will resonate with anyone who has ever fought their own battles." A hush fell over the room as they exchanged glances. Then, as if one committee member couldn't hold back any longer, she offered an idea: "We could create an interactive element. perhaps allowing the community to share their stories alongside the installation, bridging Amelia's vision with real-life experiences. Yes! Amelia exclaimed, her heart soaring. A place where we can all come together, where each pair of shoes tells a story and invites others to share their journeys too. Suddenly, the atmosphere shifted from skepticism to excitement. Ideas flowed like water as they brainstormed, painting a vivid future of creativity and community. Amelia felt a rush of connectedness, like the threads of a quilt sewn neatly together, a tapestry that spoke of shared struggles and dreams. As they wrapped up the meeting, the owner stepped forward, smiling broadly. Amelia, we believe in what you're creating. This collaborative approach could redefine our brand and touch so many lives. We'd like to proceed with your concept. Tears welled up in Amelia's eyes, joy bubbling within her like a river breaking free. Thank you so much. The committee erupted in applause, a symphony of support ringing around her. That evening, Amelia returned home, her heart lighter than air. Gone were the anxious doubts that had once haunted her. She knew the journey ahead would be challenging, but now she was armed with a team that believed not just in her work, but in her as a person. She climbed the stairs to her little apartment, a radiant smile glowing on her face. Her mother greeted her with wide eyes. What happened today? Are you all right? Amelia held her dear mother close, her heart overflowing with gratitude. Mom, I did it. They believed in me. They want to take my vision and run with it. It's just the start, but it feels right. I'm ready to share my story with the world. Amelia's mother beamed, her eyes glistening. You've always had greatness inside you. I never doubted it. With warm words wrapping around her heart, Amelia began to create a vision board, each image a reminder of the journey ahead. As she pieced together her dreams, she was not just casting designs, she was crafting a legacy of hope to inspire those who felt lost, like she once had. The sun set on her little town, painting the sky with breathtaking hues, a perfect reflection of the transformation Amelia had undergone. She was not just the shoeless girl anymore, she was a storyteller, a warrior, and now a creator of connection. The light of a new dawn awaited her, and she would step into it, bare feet and all. Don't miss this moment. You need to subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and share the love. Comment below your thoughts and feelings about Amelia's incredible journey. And don't wait not even one more second to share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. True fans know how important it is to support the channel through these actions.